Hello, and how's everybody doing? Welcome inside the Dakota Dome, joined now by the newest member of the South Dakota football coaching staff, defensive coordinator Travis Johansen. And Travis, first off, welcome to South Dakota.
Appreciate it. It's been a good start so far. So 5 hours in, we're pretty excited to be here.
All right. Well, a lot of people are going to, of course, ask Coach Nielsen what made you the right fit for this particular job. But I want to flip that around. What made this job the right fit for you?
Well, first of all, the commitment to the whole athletic department. First, I mean, Coach, what Mr. Herbster's done, and I've known him since my time at Concordia, and then obviously a chance to work with Coach Nielsen, who's second to none in coaching circles. Even to have the chance to interview with him is a pretty cool process, and that, along with being in a place like USD where you're in Vermillion and the people love USD, the whole state, loves this program and wants to see it do well, and the way it's set up right now, I know we can win, and everywhere I've been we've been able to do that, and so it's really attractive not only to connect with somebody like Coach Nielsen at a place like this and platform to win. It's hard to say no to anything like this.
Yeah, and you talked about that commitment to athletics, and obviously the big part of that right now is at every level is the facilities, and of course we're seeing that that long-range plan kind of starting to come to fruition here at the University of South Dakota, with the renovations about to get started here at the Dakota Dome, the practice facility outside, the weight room that was done with the Sanford Kyle Sports Center. I imagine those are all things that get a guy like you pretty excited.
Well, no question. I think I played here in maybe 2002 or 3, and I remember when the weight room was up top, and when Coach walked me through it and kind of pointed and showed me the renderings, I was like, I don't know how a kid wouldn't want to be a part of this moving forward, and I feel like I'm coming in on the front end of that, and where you can start. But you're talking about the Sanford complex next door, and the office renovations, and the new locker room. I mean, holy smokes! Yeah, I think all the kids are excited too.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your background now. And you did spend the past 6 seasons at Grandview University in Iowa, won a lot of games, including the 2013 NAIA National Championship. Your defense, of course, finished in the top 12 every year that you were there in the country. But all of that considered, what's the thing that you're most proud of from your time with the Vikings?
Hard to put your finger on one thing. I think probably the consistency and the length that we've done it for. The 2 leagues we played in are probably the 2 toughest leagues in the country over my time there. Every year we've played, with the exception of one, we've had to play a team that was in or won the national title if we didn't. There wasn't a layup on our schedule a lot of years, and to be able to play at that level with the variety of things we see in the NAIA, everything from the old triple option, like we're playing Georgia Tech twice a year, to spread out offenses at pro style. The fact that we're able to do it consistently over that amount of time, I'm pretty proud of that. And the type of kids we put out. I mean, the kids that were coming out of our program and being members of our community, because they're not in at that level to have a chance to play NFL football or professionally. They do it because they love football. And those guys developed as young men, and those are probably the things I'm most proud of.
So how did that experience get you ready for this particular opportunity?
Well, I think what people don't realize, it's still a pretty good level of football, and the amount of time and detail and things you have to do to stop any offense, regardless of whatever level you're at, it's still a lot of the same process. It's going to be the same process here. The amount of support you have and staffing and those sort of things, those change. We'll have even more resources to be able to dig into teams, and more resources to recruit with, but the variety of things we've got to see from week to week at that level is probably some of the most difficult things to do in the country. You got to change so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk a little bit more specifically about how your defense operates, at least as comfortable as you are talking about how your defense operates. So you were actually featured in a Sports Illustrated Futures Edition article last fall, and in that, the author described your system as rooted in simplicity. So what are the nuts and bolts of what you try to do?
Well, I think the way we talk defense and teach defense might be a little backwards from the way I think some people do it. We start with, the techniques we want. We want kids to learn a toolbox of techniques, before they learn kind of the schematics of it and the concepts of it. We want to start from the ground level, and whether they end up knowing the whole concept of what we're doing or not, we know at least that kid is going to master a number of techniques, and we'll be able to use those in different ways. Lets us adjust more, kind of on the fly, which you need to do in football these days. And so I think the way we teach, the way we just conceptualize coaching defense, we're not going to be the team that pounds their feet around and stares at the quarterback and breaks. I mean, we're gonna challenge people athletically, and really just teaching from a technique level first and a concept schematic level second allows us to be a little more dynamic but still be sound.
When it comes to this, is there a difference between simple and basic?
Without question. I think simple is, basic I think is a schematic deal. Hey, is what you're doing simple to that other coach, simple to that other program? Simple to us, and what simple is going to be to us is just the understanding and the comfortability with what we're doing. And that doesn't mean we're only going to do one thing and that's the only way we can make it simple. Our teaching's got to be simple, our talk's got to be simple, our language got to be simple, how we teach in meetings has got to be simple, because these guys have a lot of other demands on them too. It's not just football, and so we've got to make sure we condense and are really efficient in how we use our time in teaching to make it simple for our kids. Basic, we certainly won't be that.
You were also linked to the term in that article to the term positionless football. Mm-hmm. Can you explain exactly what that means and how it factors into your coaching?
Well, kind of, amongst a lot of things we talked about that day, where that term comes from is our technique teaching first, and I don't care if a nose guard can go out there and cover a wide receiver. If he can run that technique the best, that's the guy that's going to do it. And we talk a lot about making football more like basketball. 10 years ago, every 7-footer had his back to the basket and was playing post-up basketball. And today, they're all handling the ball, shooting threes, because they have a skill set. They probably always had that skill set then, but is anybody developing that skill set? And so I think we got a lot of really good athletes that maybe some of those skills just haven't been nurtured enough to the point where we can use them out here on a Saturday.
All right, how about personnel then? What kinds of players fit best into what you like to do? Is there a specific attribute or physical makeup that you're really looking for when you go out and try to find kids to be part of your program?
Yeah, I think everybody's cliche speed first.
Sure.
We've got to be able to run. There's no doubt about it. With today's offense, you got to be able to run. But, we're going to develop what we do around who the 11 or 22 best guys we have at the University of South Dakota right now. And whether that fits into everything I've done this year or years past, we're going to develop around those 11, 22 guys. Now, in an ideal world, all those guys are 6'4" and 6'5" and 220, and
perfect,
it's
right?
beautiful, right? But the reality is that's probably not the case, and I got a lot of learning to do before about these guys before I really know what exactly we're able to do. But I know we'll be dynamic and use a lot of guys in different ways, and certainly won't be a cookie cutter of a defense.
The bottom line is the first step was getting the job. The
Yeah.
second step was getting here to take over the job. So what's next? What's the next most important piece of becoming the defensive coordinator here at the University of South Dakota?
Well, it's first players. I think we can all kid ourselves and pump us up as coaches. It's a player's game, and learning about these kids and their backgrounds and how they tick, developing relationships with each and every one of them. So we can coach them hard, and we can put them in adverse situations, and they'll come out the other end better men. And so I think that the next step is developing relationships with these guys, and because I know there's enough talent. I've seen it. I've watched a lot of tape over the last 4 or 5 days to see what's there. But are we going to be able to motivate them to a point where we get their best football out of them? And so that's first before we scheme anything up or start talking playbook or any of that. It's developing us as our culture as a defense and what we want to do, and promoting that to our guys. And I know they'll buy in. I just met a lot of them this morning. These kids are antsy to win, and so am I.
Well, Travis, I know there's a lot of people excited to have you on board, and I certainly look forward to working with you. Thank you for taking a few minutes on your first day to sit down with me and talk a little football, but appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.